Jason Statham's story is often told as a sleek rise to global action stardom. But underneath the polished surface lies a life shaped by scarcity, rejection, and relentless survival. Born into a working-class household in Shirebrook, Derbyshire, he did not inherit privilege or connections. Instead, he inherited instability, constant financial pressure, and the expectation that nothing would come easily. His early environment was defined by noise and silence in equal measure, the noise of struggle, and the silence of unspoken exhaustion between adults trying to keep life afloat. His parents worked whatever jobs they could find, shifting between labor, street trading, and unstable gigs just to keep the household moving forward. From a young age, Jason learned that comfort was temporary and effort was non-negotiable. There was no romantic notion of childhood freedom. There was only contribution. While other children played without concern, he was often nearby observing, learning how people behaved under pressure, how money was earned one small exchange at a time, and how dignity could still exist in difficult circumstances. These early lessons shaped his internal compass far more than any classroom ever could. He developed an instinct for reading situations quickly and reacting without hesitation. What would later become his trademark screen persona, the controlled, unflinching, physically disciplined action figure, was not created in Hollywood. It was formed in these early years of uncertainty. Even before fame, he understood one essential truth: survival rewards consistency, not luck. This belief would guide every stage of his life, from sport to modeling to acting, turning him into a figure defined not by ease of success, but by endurance through resistance. A childhood built on survival and motion. Jason's childhood was not anchored in stability but in movement, physical, emotional, and financial. His family's life in Shirebrook was marked by constant adaptation. His father worked multiple jobs, including mining and street vending, while his mother contributed through performance and informal work. Money came and went unpredictably, which meant planning ahead was a luxury the family rarely enjoyed. Jason quickly learned that waiting for opportunity was pointless. You had to recognize it, grab it, and act before it disappeared. He spent much of his early life observing adults navigate uncertainty. Markets, pubs, and street corners became his informal classrooms. Instead of structured lessons, he absorbed negotiation, persuasion, and resilience through real-world exposure. He learned how tone, timing, and presence could influence outcomes more than formal authority ever could. These skills would later translate seamlessly into both sport and acting, though at the time they were simply tools for daily life. Despite the hardship, there was a quiet discipline forming within him. He was not rebellious in the traditional sense. He was focused, even when he did not fully understand what he was aiming toward. Physical movement became an outlet. Whether it was running through streets, experimenting with flips, or simply testing endurance, he gravitated toward anything that required control over the body in space. This instinct eventually led him toward diving, a discipline that demanded precision, fearlessness, and repetition. It was not an obvious path for a boy from Shirebrook, but it offered structure where life had offered none. In diving, mistakes were immediate and visible, but improvement was also measurable. For Jason, that clarity was appealing. It was the first time effort translated directly into progress, and that realization changed the direction of his life entirely. The discipline of water and missed Olympic dreams. Diving became the first structured passion that truly shaped Jason's identity. At the Crystal Palace National Sports Center, he entered a world where discipline replaced chaos. Unlike his upbringing, where outcomes were unpredictable, diving required exact repetition and technical precision. Every movement mattered. Every entry into the water was judged. There was no hiding behind excuses, only execution. Starting relatively late compared to elite divers, Jason faced an immediate disadvantage. Most competitors had trained since early childhood, while he entered serious training in his early teens. Still, he approached the sport with intensity rather than hesitation. He stayed longer than others, trained harder than most, and absorbed criticism without resistance. The pool became a place of structure, where progress was earned through repetition rather than circumstance. His dedication led him to represent England at the Commonwealth Games, a milestone that confirmed his potential. Yet success in sport is often defined not just by achievement but by timing, and in 1992, he narrowly missed selection for the Olympic team. That single moment became a defining emotional fracture in his early life. Years of sacrifice condensed into one outcome that did not go his way. Rather than collapse under disappointment, he internalized it. He did not publicly express frustration. Instead, he redirected it. The water that once represented ambition became a reminder of limits, and he walked away with a quiet understanding that talent alone was not enough. This realization did not defeat him. It hardened him. It taught him that identity could not depend on one path alone. When diving ended, survival began again, this time outside the structure of sport. From athletic discipline to street-level survival, leaving competitive diving behind did not mean leaving discipline behind. Instead, Jason transferred that structure into survival on the streets of London. Without sport or institutional support, he entered a phase of life defined by uncertainty. He took whatever work he could find, selling goods in markets, trading small items, and navigating environments where income depended entirely on daily effort. These years were not glamorous or stable. He moved through temporary accommodations, often living in cramped or uncomfortable spaces. Sleep was irregular, and security was minimal. Yet he never abandoned routine. He maintained physical training, using bodyweight exercises and shadowboxing as a way to preserve focus. Even in difficult conditions, he refused to let himself drift into passivity. This period sharpened his awareness of human behavior. Selling in crowded spaces required reading people quickly, understanding who might stop, who might buy, and who would walk past without acknowledgement. Rejection was constant, but so was persistence. He learned not to interpret refusal as personal failure, but as part of a larger pattern of interaction. What emerged from this time was a mindset rooted in practicality. There was no illusion of comfort or entitlement. Every gain had to be earned immediately. That mentality would later align perfectly with the demands of the entertainment industry, where resilience and adaptability often mattered more than formal training. By the time opportunity arrived, Jason was already conditioned for rejection, repetition, and reinvention. He did not need preparation for hardship. It was already his default state. This foundation made his eventual transition into modeling and acting less surprising and more inevitable in hindsight. The unexpected bridge into modeling and film. Jason Statham's entry into modeling and entertainment was not the result of ambition toward fame, but of being noticed in passing. His physical presence, shaped by sport, labor, and survival, stood out in environments where authenticity was increasingly rare. Sports promotions and fashion brands saw in him something unpolished yet compelling. He was not traditionally refined, but he was real, and that quality had commercial appeal. Modeling opportunities with brands like Tommy Hilfiger and Levi's introduced him to structured creative environments for the first time. Yet even in these settings, he remained grounded in his earlier identity. He did not adopt artificial personas. Instead, he brought his natural posture, expression, and physical confidence into the work. This authenticity distinguished him from others in the industry. Despite entering a visually driven world, he never fully detached from his past. Between shoots, he returned to survival-based routines, maintaining a connection to the hustle mentality that shaped him. Fame did not arrive as a sudden transformation, but as an extension of existing habits applied in a new context. The turning point came when filmmaker Guy Ritchie recognized something beyond appearance. He saw lived experience rather than performance. Jason was not required to fabricate a character. He was asked to reflect parts of himself. This alignment between life experience and role definition marked the beginning of his acting career. From that moment forward, the transition from street survival to cinematic storytelling began. It was not reinvention, it was translation. His past was not erased, it became material. Breakthrough roles and the birth of a screen identity. Jason's early film work established him as a new kind of screen presence, one grounded in realism rather than theatrical exaggeration. In Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, he did not perform as someone learning toughness. He embodied it naturally. His delivery, timing, and physical control reflected lived experience rather than studied technique. The success of the film introduced him to international audiences, followed quickly by Snatch, which expanded his visibility alongside major actors. These roles did not position him as a traditional leading man, but as a character defined by sharpness, intensity, and controlled aggression. Audiences responded to the authenticity of his presence. As opportunities expanded, he began training more deliberately for action roles. Unlike many actors who rely heavily on stunt coordination, Jason committed to performing much of his own physical work. This decision was not only about realism, but about ownership of performance. He wanted the physical consequences of his roles to remain connected to his own body. Films like The Transporter cemented his identity as an action star. The role demanded precision driving, combat training, and sustained physical discipline. He approached it with the same mindset he had used in sport: repetition until execution became instinctive. With each project, his screen identity solidified: controlled, efficient, and relentless. He was no longer transitioning into acting. He had become a recognizable cinematic archetype shaped by his own history, global stardom, and the weight of physical performance. As Jason's career expanded, so did the demands placed on his body and mind. Action cinema required not only performance but endurance. Each film involved long hours of physical preparation, choreography, and repeated exposure to risk. Unlike controlled environments in sport, film sets introduced unpredictable variables that often pushed safety boundaries. He embraced this reality with minimal hesitation. Performing his own stunts became a defining aspect of his career. While this added authenticity to his work, it also increased physical strain. Injuries accumulated over time, minor at first, then progressively more serious. Yet he continued to push forward, driven by professional pride and personal discipline. Success brought financial stability and global recognition, but it also created a narrow expectation from the industry. He was consistently cast in roles that emphasized physicality over emotional range. While this reinforced his brand, it also limited creative variation. He became known for one dominant cinematic identity. Despite this, he maintained consistency in output, working across major franchises and standalone films. The Fast and Furious series elevated him to global blockbuster status, introducing him to audiences far beyond traditional action cinema. However, fame did not eliminate internal pressure. The physical demands, combined with repetitive role expectations, created a cycle of exhaustion masked by success. Behind the controlled performances was a body constantly managing impact, recovery, and preparation for the next sequence of controlled danger. Romantic beginnings and emotional contradictions. Jason Statham's personal relationships often reflected the contrast between his external strength and internal complexity. His early relationship with Kelly Brook introduced him to public romance under media attention. Their connection was immediate and intense, blending admiration with lifestyle differences shaped by their rising careers. As his fame grew, the balance within the relationship shifted. Work commitments increased, travel became constant, and separation became routine. Media attention amplified pressure, turning private dynamics into public narratives. Eventually, the relationship ended, leaving behind emotional distance that he rarely discussed openly. Subsequent relationships followed similar patterns of intensity followed by separation. His partnership with Sophie Monk was marked by energy and compatibility, but logistical demands made continuity difficult. Later relationships also struggled under the weight of travel, filming schedules, and competing priorities. Each experience reinforced a recurring pattern: emotional connection versus professional obligation. Jason's life structure left limited space for sustained domestic stability during his peak working years. The result was a cycle of closeness followed by distance, repeated across different relationships. Despite this, he rarely framed these experiences as failure. Instead, they reflected the reality of a life built around movement and physical commitment. Emotional consistency required time he often did not have during his most demanding career phases. Eventually, however, a different kind of relationship emerged, one that aligned more closely with long-term stability rather than constant motion. This shift marked a new chapter in his personal life, a stable partnership and the arrival of family life. Jason's relationship with Rosie Huntington-Whiteley marked a significant shift in his personal trajectory. Unlike previous relationships defined by conflicting schedules and external pressures, this partnership developed with a slower, more grounded rhythm. Both understood the demands of public life, yet prioritized privacy and stability over visibility. Their connection evolved naturally, beginning with shared understanding rather than immediate intensity. Over time, this foundation allowed trust and mutual respect to form without the interference of constant media attention. Their relationship became less about public narrative and more about private continuity. The arrival of their first child transformed Jason's priorities. Fatherhood introduced a different form of responsibility, one not based on performance or physical endurance but presence. The demands of parenting required emotional availability in ways his career had rarely required before. He began restructuring aspects of his life around family stability. Work remained important, but no longer defined every decision. Time at home gained equal weight to time on set. This shift did not reduce his professional commitment, but rebalanced it. A second child further deepened this transition. Family life became the central structure around which everything else revolved. The pace of work adjusted accordingly, with greater emphasis on selectivity rather than constant output. For someone whose life had been defined by movement, this phase represented a rare form of stillness. The hidden cost of stunt culture and physical risk. Behind the polished results of action cinema lies a reality often unseen by audiences: sustained physical risk. Jason's commitment to performing his own stunts placed him repeatedly in environments where precision errors could result in serious injury. While safety systems exist, unpredictability remains an inherent part of practical stunt work. Over time, his body accumulated strain from repeated impacts, falls, and high-intensity sequences. Minor injuries became routine, and recovery periods grew increasingly important. Despite this, he continued to engage directly in physically demanding scenes, prioritizing authenticity over substitution. Tragic events within the industry also reshaped his understanding of risk. Incidents involving stunt performers and colleagues reinforced the fragility of safety assumptions. Witnessing accidents and losses on set introduced a level of awareness that no training could fully prepare someone for. These experiences altered his approach subtly, but significantly. While he did not abandon physical performance, he became more conscious of limits and consequences. Preparation became more meticulous, and awareness during execution more deliberate. The action genre often celebrates invincibility, but the reality behind it is controlled vulnerability. Every sequence carries calculated danger, and every successful performance depends on coordination between skill, timing, and trust. For Jason, this reality never disappeared. It simply became part of the profession he had chosen. Accidents, loss, and the emotional weight of survival. Throughout his career, Jason experienced moments where fiction and danger intersected too closely. Stunt-related accidents and on-set emergencies reminded him that control in action filmmaking is never absolute. Even with preparation, unpredictability can shift outcomes in seconds. One of the most defining aspects of his professional life became the awareness of mortality within controlled environments. Witnessing incidents involving colleagues reinforced the emotional cost of the industry. These were not abstract risks, they were real consequences experienced by real people. The loss of close collaborators deepened this understanding further. Friends and fellow performers who shared similar professional paths sometimes suffered fatal or life-altering incidents. Each event left a lasting emotional imprint, even when not publicly discussed. Jason's response to these experiences was not withdrawal, but heightened focus. He approached work with increased seriousness, recognizing the responsibility that comes with high-risk performance. The emotional weight did not disappear, but it was internalized rather than expressed. This internalization contributed to the stoic public image he became known for. However, beneath that exterior was a constant awareness of fragility within his profession. Survival, for him, was never abstract. It was something observed, experienced, and respected. Wealth, stability, and the meaning of success. Rewritten. By the later stages of his career, Jason Statham had achieved financial security and global recognition. His success placed him among the highest-earning figures in action cinema, with properties, investments, and long-term financial stability secured through decades of consistent work. However, his interpretation of success differed from conventional narratives. Wealth did not represent transformation from hardship alone, it represented independence from instability. The ability to choose work, rather than depend on it, became a central form of achievement. Despite financial success, he maintained a relatively grounded lifestyle. Excessive display was not part of his identity. Instead, he focused on functional comfort, spaces designed for privacy, family life, and recovery rather than spectacle. His relationship with material possessions remained practical. Vehicles, homes, and assets were not symbols of identity but extensions of convenience shaped by years of movement and work. Equally important was his continued connection to physical discipline. Training, fitness, and structured routine remained consistent, not for performance but for maintenance of balance. Success, for Jason, became less about accumulation and more about control over time, energy, and presence. A life defined by endurance and quiet legacy. Jason Statham's story ultimately reflects a life shaped not by ease but by endurance. From unstable beginnings to global recognition, his path was defined by continuous adaptation rather than sudden transformation. Each stage of his life built upon the previous one, creating a structure grounded in persistence. His legacy in film is often associated with physical action and controlled intensity. But beneath that lies a deeper narrative of discipline and repetition. He did not arrive in Hollywood through traditional pathways. He arrived through accumulated experience in environments where survival required constant adjustment. Personal life, professional demands, and physical risk all intersected throughout his journey. Yet through each phase, he maintained a consistent identity rooted in effort rather than privilege. Even now, his life reflects balance between public recognition and private stability. Family remains central, work remains selective, and past experiences continue to inform present decisions. His story is not one of perfection or effortless success. It is a reminder that achievement is often constructed through persistence under pressure rather than comfort. In the end, Jason Statham stands as a figure shaped by endurance, someone who transformed hardship into structure, and structure into lasting legacy.